In the early 80s, Dennis was afforded the opportunity to direct a film called Out of the Blue.
Well, actually, I met him in the elevator. Or
At the
by
hotel?
the elevator, yeah, at the hotel.
In Vancouver?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And he told me he was taking over being a director, because I think we already shot 4 weeks into the movie with Leonard. And then Dennis came into the picture, and we started working together.
I mentioned when we started that Out of the Blue seemed to me to be a film of its time, the punk generation. Yeah. In between Easy Rider and Out of the Blue, had you kind of assimilated what was going on in the various changes in the fashion and style and music? I mean, how did you come to feel about punk at that time?
I just saw it written on the walls, and I was listening to it on the radio.
You hadn't decided on the title at that time, but you were able
I heard
to...
that on the radio too, and
yeah.
I went. Neil's an old friend of mine. I went. Wow, that's the picture, man. I mean, the king is dead but not forgotten. But this is a story about Johnny Rotten. Thank you, Neil.
Now you've worked with very prominent directors like Terrence Malick, David Fincher, Philip Kaufman, terrific directors. How would you compare Dennis's directing with their styles?
He was more on the wild side.
Was he willing to take chances?
Yes.
And I got to really admire Linda. So I found out that Linda played drums and played a little guitar, and I said, put drums and guitar in her room.
Well, I never really knew who Sid Vicious was. Or Johnny Rotten, for that matter. But Elvis, I knew Elvis.
Everybody left me. My father left me. Johnny Rotten left me. Sid Vicious left me. And now you, the king, has to leave me.
And here's Don Gordon with Dennis Hopper.
Wow, one of his best buddies.
And this is Raymond Burr. He played my shrink. He told me an island in Fiji.
Mm-hmm.
And I could go down there anytime I want, but I never did.
Well, it can't be as remote as this place. You look very elegant there.
That's Cannes Film Festival.
You know, the movie showed in France and was hugely successful there. Had over 1 million admissions. Dennis hadn't directed anything since the last movie. Here was the guy who had had the greatest success of the 60s with Easy Rider. And yet here it was getting no distribution in the US. I decided that we had to distribute Out of the Blue. And by we, I mean me.
Like I say, I don't write, which is true, but I didn't really want you to see me anything like this, This is where I've been for the last 5 years, So.
I was just enthralled by it. I thought of all the movies that I've seen that don't have distribution, this is the best. People have to see this movie. I remember a quote from one of the European reviewers that it's a shocked complacency. The Village Voice did a full article, and the New York Times did a great article, and the LA Weekly said it was the finest American movie in a very, very, very long time.
Hey, my. This is little Jackie Nicholson. I want to recommend a movie that I'm not in, Dennis Hopper's movie Out of the Blue. First of all, well, I've never endorsed anything, even in my own. But this would do in the 80s exactly what Easy Rider did to kind of make the transition from the 60s to the 70s. It may piss them off, but if a masterpiece comes along, people should see it.
Okay, all right. You know something, this? I'm a motherfucking asshole, you know that? I did 5 fucking years, in prison. And there were a lot of other kids in there besides your son. Now, am I gonna have to meet every fucking asshole like you, man? Look, I'm an asshole. You see this? You see me? You see that? But I'm not a motherfucking dumb asshole. Because there's enough here for 2 drinks.
Dennis Hopper, like most big stars, had a great ego. But I never saw him exhibit so much humility as when he was offered the opportunity to direct, and he became humble.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw him reach a new plateau in his life where he realized he may not get many more chances like this. And he assumed a very humble position. And, you know, it's really helped me understand him better and respect him more.